morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning. Morning. I don't blame you for not having a robust good morning for me. Who spent a lifetime in traffic this morning? Yeah, exactly. It's great to see everyone. My name is Jay Ash. I run an organization called the Massachusetts Competitive Partnership. I'm the previous incarnation of Fidel, former city manager here in Chelsea. And it's a great pleasure to be here with all of you to recognize the great work that ROCA is doing in the community. I've known ROCA and I've known Molly for a long time, more than 3 decades now. And over those 3 decades, I continue to marvel at the work and the results. I continue to marvel at the work that ROCA does in the community, and the results speak for themselves. As city manager, and with the police department, I want to recognize Brian Kais, former Chelsea police chief, and now U.S. Marshal here. I hope you're here unofficially.
Officially.
That's another discussion.
Yeah, just want to make sure, recognize my friend Dave Batchelor, former captain of the police department, and former point guard of my high school basketball team. So, Dave, you look younger than I do, so I know that's a little bit of a stretch. ROCA, when I was city manager, ROCA was the place that I went to talk about what was happening in our neighborhoods and how we got through to young people who were put in bad positions and during their life and found themselves in trouble. Certainly a great police department here that was doing great work protecting people and property in Chelsea, but police alone can't be the only agents of public safety in a community. It requires an entire community to come together to protect that community. ROCA has been doing that for over 3 decades, and I marveled at the work. Now, when I got to ROCA as not the city manager, but just a supporter of ROCA, and got to meet the young people that ROCA was engaged in, as well as the wonderful staff that was helping to nurture them, what I found was that as much as I worried about the safety of the public when I was city manager, it was the individual stories that I heard from young people who were caught in bad situations and couldn't find their way out that really got me even more excited about my relationship with ROCA. And so meeting young people and finding that, as Molly was, Molly would often say, there are no bad young people, there are only bad situations that they get in. Situation after situation, and an inability to break out from those bad situations was the thing that I was impressed with and found ROCA working on. You know, providing hope for young people who had no hope, providing a brighter future, a future full of possibilities for those of us who have kids, the same kinds of possibilities that came, the same types of future that we want for our kids. ROCA has been providing that for now more than 3 decades. So now that I'm no longer the city manager, I'm jealous of Fidel, who gets to be city manager of this wonderful community every day. I've joined the ROCA board. And what I see here in Chelsea, and what I see replicated at other sites around Massachusetts and around the country, is that ROCA is having that same impact, the impact of helping to make sure the communities are safe, helping to provide options for young people who are trying to break the cycle of violence and overcome the trauma that they've experienced in their lives, and really providing hope. So I'm grateful for everyone at ROCA, all the staff here at ROCA for everything they do. I'm especially grateful for those of you who aren't on the staff of ROCA, but who find their way here to make a difference. We collectively can help to make a difference. We can't be on the streets. We're not going to be in the neighborhoods. We're not going to be working on brain health and combating violence with individuals. But those of us who aren't doing that have another important role, and that's supporting those who do. So I don't take lightly the role that the rest of us have in helping ROCA to reach young people. And I would tell you the results just continue to amaze me. I again talk to people who have been through the program, people who are engaged with the program, and I just continue to see the opportunity that ROCA is providing as a reason to stay involved. So thank you all for being here this morning, and thank you for being involved. I'm going to turn it over to my good friend Molly Baldwin, who you know, I've had the opportunity over my life to meet lots of people who do lots of good work, and there's many people amongst us who are doing good work. I've never met anyone like Molly Baldwin. Molly has poured her entire life into making sure that others have a better opportunity at a greater life, and has done so with such humility that is amazing. Those of us who have known Molly for years, you're used to getting these handwritten note cards after you've done something nice for her. A little tough sometimes to read the handwritten note cards. Printing is really small, but the spirit of the note cards are really amazing, and it really says a lot about who Molly is. She has founded ROCA. She has worked in ROCA. She's been the inspiration at ROCA. She's also been the person that connects all of us and has made sure that we all get to know each other. We all get to know the young people that we're serving, and we all get to know a better future for our entire community. So Molly, thank you for all you continue to do, and you continue to be not only an inspiration but a good friend as well. So everyone, I'm pleased to introduce Molly Baldwin.
Thank you all for coming. As those of you who know us, and if some of you are getting to know us, it really takes a big group, and we're so grateful to Jay and all of you. What we wanted to do this morning, we promise this will be quick because that's the deal, is to give you a quick update on ROCA, and then we'd like to talk about our building. And we invited those of you here today to really thank some of our key building partners that Joe will do, but also to kind of let you know, as long-standing business partners and supporters, what we're doing up the street. So ROCA really is about, life beyond violence. So our mission is to relentlessly disrupt violence by engaging young people, police, and systems to address trauma, find hope, and drive change. We are now almost 37 years old. Over the years, we've done a lot of things. For those of you who've known us a long time, in a funny way, we're more like we were in the beginning than the middle, but we've got a lot of science and data around it. We work with young people who are mostly 16 to 24. They're at what you would imagine acute elevated risk due to trauma, high levels of engagement and impact of violence, could have gone to prison, carrying guns, and they will not go to a traditional program. So if we meet a young person and they're going to go to school or they're going to go to the job training program, we're going to move them on. They don't need us. Our program is a 3-year model. Because we found some data around that, we'll let you know. And over the years, I hope we did more good than bad. We started to use data to make sure that what we were doing for young people was of value. That these young people had lived through so many hard things, they didn't just need us doing stuff that wasn't helping them. And we found some things that helped. We realized you had to stay in it a long time. We realized this relentless outreach, which we do with grown-ups too, as you know, was really key. Because the young people really at the epicenter of violence aren't showing up. And then at some point we started learning about the brain. And this really changed everything we were doing. And a couple of quick things around the brain. Hopefully he's not a doctor in the room. First of all, we can change our brain at any time, which is good news. I'm older, so that's good. There are 3 times where that brain can change more, either 0 to 5 or 0 to 3, depending on whose research. Interestingly, 18 to 25, we now know that our brains are not fully developed in the best of circumstances, safety, family support, until 25, and then right after you have a baby, the brain can change more. We also we do know that the brain goes from the back to the front, but this middle brain, this bottom brain stuff holds emotions, it records memories, it's fight, flight, or freeze, it's pleasure, it's pain. We know that if you're not safe, or you think you're not safe, you actually don't even have what they call these neural pathways to the thinking part of the brain. So we really, as we understand it, most violence, not all, happens because people are stuck in their bottom brain, and it's due to trauma. So that's a little frightening. The good news is, though, we do know that you can rewire that brain. You can change it. And at this age, 16 to 24, it takes about 2 years to change it. And you have to build the muscle to take an 8 to 12 second pause between what you think and feel and what you do. So that's all we're working on, is this 8 to 12 second pause. And that's very possible. However, as you know, the group we hang out with kind of doesn't want much to do with us. They're not going to sit in a group. So we have developed a way to find young people at the center of urban violence, hold on to them. I mean, we don't lose people, right? And some of you have known us for 37 years almost. We don't lose you either, right? And then really teach them, we call it Rewire CBT, emotional regulation skills, over and over again, on the street, on the phone, in a group, on the work crew. Practice, 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 and then something happens at about 18 to 24 months where a young person who says, I hate you, I hate that stupid stuff, a few other choice words, says, oh, you know what, that stuff works. Because I was going to go tell my boss to F off, and I took a pause. I could stop, right? Or I was going to shoot somebody. We've had young people call and tell us that. They were going to shoot somebody, but the practice kicked into the brain, and they took a pause and made a different decision, right? So that's kind of, the program really is about outreach and teaching young people these things. We do have actual sites, as you know, where we bring young people in for education to work on life skills and parenting, and our transitional employment program, our sort of famous real pay for real work, all point and go work, because nobody can keep a job, because if you got referred to ROCA and you could keep a job, you don't need to be at ROCA. People spend, I don't know, up to about 18 months bouncing in and out of transitional employment, right? Having a good day, don't like to be told what to do, don't like to be looked at, threaten somebody out the window. We practice that CBT again, practice those skills. It's real-time practice. Again, hopefully to get the job skills, but that sort of comes second. It's that 8 to 12 second pause first. And then we help people try to get a job and then move on. We have 2 levers for change to address violence. One is our direct service model. We work with about 1,800 young people across Massachusetts. In Baltimore, Maryland, we're in our 7th year, and we're starting our 4th year in Hartford for just young women. And then the other thing we started was an Impact Institute, where we coach all across the country. We'll show you a quick map. We teach other people who work with young people about our Rewire CBT, this emotional regulation thing. We teach them how to do outreach, because people forgot. We teach people in juvenile justice systems, in prisons, how to use the CBT. And then with Dave's leadership, where are you? Dave's leadership, we adapted the CBT for young people for cops. It's a 1-day training working on brain science, emotional regulation. It has 6 months of follow-up with texting, and that team has now trained over 6,000 cops. So that's kind of how we leverage our change. Again, just to show you, and we can send this to you if you want later, we're sort of way off in that corner, right? If you're with a little bit of support, you're going to go to school, great. You can go to the counselor, great. You can go to the job training program without being dragged in there, great. We're not going to keep you. So we're sort of off in the corner. Our research shows that the higher the risk of the young person, the more effective ROCA is, which is an interesting thing. Again, the outreach, building safety, the life-saving skills is the CBT, which is the core. We get people to practice working, practice to go to education. They all got to get dragged in. You finally got 3 good weeks. Somebody Jay goes to, GED 3 weeks in a row, and then he gets mad, and then he threatens the teacher, and then he leaves, and we go find him again. We keep allowing that relapse, because if the price of entry is you're not in good shape, the price of entry is you're engaged in violence, we need to be able to deal with the hard stuff and not the good stuff. And again, at about 2 years, things start to change. And then we work with institutions. Probably some people in this room could tell you how we didn't do that so well in the beginning, but we learned that if we're going to work with young people, we have to work with police, whether they like us or not. We have to work with probation. We have to work with corrections and wrap around them, because they know young people. Again, about 1,800 young people directly. We're the Impact Institutes in 40 cities in 18 states. Our budget last year was about 33 million. So if you realize we started down the street in an apartment, which was Doc Berman's office. He was a scriptwriter, I think. Because all the constables were coming to look for his paperwork when we started. $134,000 grant. I mean, the team is just remarkable. We have come a long way. And we're glad to share this with you after. And I think a couple things that are just worth knowing. We consistently measure our recidivism rate of high-risk young people against the state. We show a 33% reduction in recidivism compared to like young people, which is great. We also have very few people return to prison for violent crime. So that said, some do, but very few. And then just another kind of quick example is in Maryland, we started an after shooting protocol because there's a lot of people getting shot and killed in Baltimore. And we do this thing where we work with police and hospitals and we immediately try to run in and get to the person who's been shot. Say, oh, how did you know we were here? Oh, the police sent us, which says to these young people, we're watching you. We're doing this in Hartford as well with the young women. There's a high rate of young women who are shot. Get them the services they need and try to get them onto a different path. Because in Baltimore, at least, they found that 67% of young people have been shot, were either shot again or killed very quickly. So that intervention is really key. Again, just a couple of things that are really, we track everything. We track young people, we track staff, we try to get better. The question is how to be worthy of them. If we just look at outcomes from last year, it'll show you how many times we knocked on the door, how many times we found Mike, did we find Jay's mother? Like, we're constantly tracking all that kind of issue. This cognitive behavior outcome is key. This is about the emotional regulation. This is the journey to take the 8 to 12 second pause. So we use what are called norm tests to see if there are changes. So we're making progress there. And then we see really a reduction in incarcerations and arrests over time. And then I think the last, we'll come, this will just give you a sense. We get very good feedback on the Impact Institute, and we're looking at some long-term change. And then I'm gonna skip that. We're gonna do a growth campaign, but we'll talk about that later. I think you should just do a video just because I'm conscious of time. Thank you.
At the time, I didn't have no option. Being outside 24/7, walking around, no jobs, smoking in the hallway, just doing nothing with your life, bro. Just losing your life, bro. Just doing nothing in the street. Only reason I was like that, I lost my best friend, so I was lost. I just lost the person I was with every day after school. Like, I can't even think. I wasn't even thinking, bro. Hard times. Only thing is to do in the streets is rob. Always gotta carry a gun, and then, like, it's either jail or death. There's no other way around it. There's no cheat code. There's no nothing. It's jail or death. Well, the first time I was in jail because, like, my mom turned me in type thing. I didn't have a dad. She couldn't handle me. I was serving 2.5 years because I committed a home robbery. When you go to the big jail, it's rough. You feel alone. You don't got nobody. So I had to figure it out on my own. The only way, like, I could come out of jail, if I joined ROCA, like, do the program. I needed guidance. Like I said, I was doing crazy shit. I had my baby as soon as I got out of jail. So think about it. I'm still in the streets. I'm with my baby mother. She don't got a job. I don't got a job. I'm still gang banging. Like, all that for a young kid to deal with that, it sucks, bro.
My relationship started with Mike early on when he first started with ROCA. He was a young man that was struggling. Had a lot of traumas, had a lot of anguish, pain. Never talked about things. Because sometimes when you're in that street level environment, you feel like you're quarantined and you don't have a way out.
Well, my first experience with ROCA was college. I ain't gonna lie. It's like you got this person you don't know from a hole in the wall, want to know mad stuff about you. Like, what? He's asking all these questions and stuff. You don't really know what's the intention. Like, I had like street workers around my area, but like, it wasn't like ROCA. Let's put it like that. It wasn't like ROCA. But it don't give you the same energy that ROCA gives you. It's different.
The relationship blossomed more into more than just like a work relationship. I kind of look at him like I'm his uncle, like his family, like, you know what I mean? Because my thing is like, no matter how bad the circumstances was, I always just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept checking on him.
Yeah, Kev, that's my dude. I'm telling you, he was there through everything. Kevin was like one of the only persons that was at court one time, bro. At first, I didn't like CBT because like you gotta use your brain. You gotta break shit down. And that's the thing that I feel like is a big thing in ROCA. Us youth kids don't like listening, so I think that helps us like listen. Before I didn't have CBT, I would have probably ripped off. Like I would have went crazy, but with CBT, you think every time before you do it, you just think, reflect, just break your feelings down. Then it got hard because now it was like the job situation. Bro, I spent like almost like 3 years looking for a job. I kept getting denied for everything just because of my record.
You know, at Rope, we actually did help him get a job at Lou's. It's just monumental.
Our customers are from all over the place. We don't ask them what their background is in order to get their business. So why am I asking my employees what their background is? I heard that we can hire individuals who didn't have a lot in life, or they can move on in life or grow in life and make something for themselves. And I thought it was fantastic. I was with it from day one.
We gotta get past the red tape because the red tape leads to yellow tape in our world when we're talking about street law folks. Give this young man the opportunity.
He's a funny kid. He's up front. He takes care of the money over here. He's great with customers. He's polite. We all love him and we trust him.
Sometimes we get pissed off at customers and stuff, so we need to take a little 10-minute break. We need to go to the back and have a CBT there.
What position did you play?
Shortstop? Yeah, but I didn't play for too long. I got into the streets and stuff, so I ain't really get to like keep playing it. For the future, I definitely want to have my own shop. I definitely want to move to where my bosses live, in New Hampshire. Bro, he sits with the door open at night, bro. Like, I want to be happy, bro. I want my son to walk around outside and he's chilling. That's what I want. I want to be out there with them. I used to say, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna get a job. I don't know when, but I'm gonna get it, right?
So, this is Mike, and you did a better job explaining what Rewire CBT is than I did. But we do need a home. We always have a home base where we bring young people to. Our first home was here in Chelsea. Several of you helped us build that first home. We moved in 1996. And it is our flagship. It is our headquarters. We serve young people from the surrounding areas as well as Chelsea, and we also serve people across the state there. And we're very excited to be renovating this home again. It is a $6.2 million project, which is kind of amazing. We have an incredible team. So it's my huge privilege to introduce you to Joe Finari. He is the vice president at ROCA overseeing Chelsea and Lynn, and also does all the buildings and vehicles. And this building is his building now, and we could not do this without him, so he will. Here he is.
Thanks, Molly. Good morning, everybody. I can't hear you. Good morning, everybody. That's what I want to hear. You know, Jay Ash walks in the room, and I expect people to genuflect and move around and stuff, okay? And usually I follow him, and he's a real tough act to follow, because he's like 9 feet taller than I am. But that being said, it's an honor to be here this morning. I really appreciate you all coming out. And it's about thank yous right now, and thank you. We have a great debt of gratitude to our funders who continue to believe in what ROCA is all about, what our mission is with young people, and how we still continue to prosper. Video speaks for itself. I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the Chelsea team that's here this morning. I appreciate you all. teams do the work, and if we don't have our teams, we're not successful. Youth workers, crew supervisors, educators, your program managers, your assistant directors, everybody just wraps around our young people and provides a service, and that's why we're here to talk about the building. You see this building here was an old restaurant. It's pretty cool because we kept a counter in here. The DeMichaelis family was gracious enough to allow us to come in here. I just want to know your security guy is right on point. He just texted me and says, why is that table out front? Okay? Because Mark said it was okay.
Hey, I did stop by him 3 times.
I know, all right, but I appreciate that. So let's talk about our building, and it's not about making something look good. It's about having a modern, efficient, more inviting building to come to. It's a 20,000 square foot building that you heard Molly, 1996. It went through a renovation. 2006, it went through a renovation. Then we had a small couple of pieces that we had in 18 and 19, right before COVID. We did a couple of rooms over. We've done a number of our sites over Boston, Hartford, Lynn, Holyoke. We transitioned to more inviting, welcoming spaces for our young people. So Molly had this epiphany, said, we should probably do something with Chelsea. I said, yeah, but it's going to cost a lot of money. And you remember how these things all went down, how we're going to do this, and how it moved. And then we have some wonderful partners that we work with, which I'll get to in a couple of seconds. But we went from a community-based organization back in the early 90s to now a nationally recognized organization that deals with young people in the center of urban violence. Okay? We've recognized the fact that we needed to do something with our site. It's our flagship. It wasn't really worn out, but it just didn't work. So we decided that we were going to go and do a little renovation to the building. That little renovation started out like about $5 million. Then about May 7th-ish, we got a call that there was an issue with windows and leaks and stuff, and it went to $6.2 million.
Joe's expensive.
And I just said, that's right here, and says, yes, Molly, I am expensive, okay? But, and we're still moving to grow and to fundraise and do those things. Believe it or not, we started this project back in April. And if you come to see the building today, you're going to just be blown away where we've come in such a short period of time and the use of space. When some people walk in now, they realize that the place, oh my God, is it bigger? What did you do? No, the footprint's the same. But we have some really, really creative people that we work with. It was a total redesign, increased programming and conference area, mental health and clinical spaces, training areas for our training teams, for our CBT Rewire, conference space and meeting space for staff to go to. We really didn't have it. We were pretty chopped up before. This total renovation has really given us an opportunity to take a hard look at having a space that is so inviting for young people and staff and have areas to go to that it's going to really, I think it's going to enhance our programming without a doubt. And our young people are going to feel safe coming in that building. It's interesting because if you see it, Molly took the second floor out in the 90s, we put it back in the 20s, okay? Very traumatic to Molly. She walks in, she looks and I took it out, and now you're putting it back in. Hey, it happens, all right? But we kept half the gym, which is nice. We're able to do those things there. And it's really going to be a building for everyone to share. Just the commitment to remain in the community, to remain in the city of Chelsea. Like I said, it's a lot of money, but I would anticipate that organization will be there until infinity, all kidding aside, servicing the people of Chelsea and the surrounding communities. And then again, a shout out to design and construction teams. Victor Grant and his team from ARC, Elizabeth Tanya and Victor. You guys here? You want to stand up, please? Because I love you guys. You guys know it. There's a pro bono organization, all right, team that comes in. That was the fourth project. And I can call this guy at 12 o'clock at night and he won't answer the phone, okay? It's amazing, and it's like we were probably separated at birth, but I really, truly appreciate the thoughtfulness, the design, the colors, which I got yelled at about, the use of space, just the total functionality of the building is really geared to the young people. And Victor introduced to our new family member, Consigli Construction. Guys, you want to stand up? You're happy you are standing up. Matt Squid and Kevin, great guys. I tell them every morning that I do love them. I bring them bagels every Tuesday. but they are always there. You want to meet an organization that treats you like you're a billionaire? They do. They absolutely do. Every day. I've never walked into that building since they started construction and never had an issue. I've always seen people working, moving. The organization's in tune with what ROCA is all about, and they've really driven to help us meet our deadline of December. You know, when we were talking about this and our contracts were going back and forth, it was really crazy that people going, well, it's not going to get done, it's not going to get done. And they have a phenomenal team that just comes in and gets it done. Truly amazing. Love you guys are the best. And then our city of Chelsea, our city manager, Fidel, you guys do the best. I remember going over to talk to Mike McAteer about the plans. He goes, why are you here? Just go on the portal, fill it out. You know what I mean? You're not going to have an issue. That transparency and the relationship going back and forth, amazing, amazing. You know, you guys are outstanding partners, and we really appreciate each and every one of you, and that's why we're here, is really to give you a big thank you. And then speaking of outstanding partners, Molly has a little bit of a presentation to do right now, and hope you all. Now, all I'm going to ask you, CBT Skill 1, be present. I know you know, time is of the essence. Young kids are going to start coming in. You don't have to leave, okay? That's what ROCA is all about. We get along with everybody. We continue to do our job wherever we are. We can move. We can relocate. We're pretty mobile. We know what to do. But appreciate you all, and thank you again.
Before we wrap up, and then if any of you would like to go see the building, we'd love to have you do that. Before we invite Fidel to speak, some of us had a great friend who was the receiver of Chelsea, Harry Spence, who has since passed. I'm trying to get through this without bursting in tears. Jay, I've practiced 4 times, it's not working. When Harry passed, Jay and I sort of thought about a more localized award for Chelsea of people who make a difference, who have a lifelong commitment. And we had the privilege of giving them out a few times, and then there was sort of that pandemic problem, and we were actually, Joe threw us out of the building, some of us early, and so we weren't able to do something, but we thought today, before we introduce you to the city managers, that we would give this award this year in honor of Harry to Fidel, and Harry would have been so happy that you were here. So thank you so much. We want to give you this award, and we'd love to say a few words.
Thank you, and it's ironic that I'm getting this because I always think about, you know, these inflection points, right, of history and how they all lead to us. I don't think that I'll be here in this job without Harry Spencer, right? I mean, and Jay Ash and Tom Ambrosino, but it's a journey, right? And it's not something that magically happens. It takes a lot of work, as this video shows. I'm very lucky and fortunate to have been given a lot of opportunities in my life that have allowed me to fulfill my potential or get me in that direction. But I wanted to share just 2 stories about my interactions with ROCA. In my prior life, I was a commissioner of public works in Chelsea, and one of our biggest partnerships is hiring ROCA young men and women to maintain our parks, right? So it's a relationship that has lasted, you know, over a decade, and we're dedicated to that work, not because parks are clean or have to be clean, because jobs, continuity, and support are critical to ensuring that these young men and women lead their full potential. And you know, there were many times that I would call Joe or the supervisor and complain about a park, and they were like, I'm on it, right? And I think it shows just the dedication that the city of Chelsea has with this organization. ROCA is Chelsea, and it's always going to be Chelsea. Another story that I want to share is I sat in this room for 3 days about a month ago on a circle training and my phone kept buzzing, but I was trying to be present. Claudia and Emily sat with us. It was a room of 30 people, and the diversity of the room was incredible. It was myself, 3 police officers from Chelsea PD, 2 members of the district attorney's office, probation court. I mean, it was service providers, and we all sat in a room, passed the feather around. I got a little incense on me, and it got real quick. It got real. I cried probably 10 or 20 times, and it really broke us down to the basic human level, right? That I am no different than these kids who are, or these young men who are cleaning our parks. At some point, there was an inflection point, right? And I'm one of the lucky ones who didn't have to make that choice, or was given an opportunity to make a different choice. But it's so incredible to get all of the Chelsea police officers trained in this format and in the work that ROCA does. Because when I interact with a young person now, I see them in a whole different light, and I think back, on that circle training, on my own trauma, and how important it is to walk around and realize that we all started at different points, right, in society, and it's our shared responsibility to ensure that everyone in this community moves forward. So thank you, Molly. So the last thing I'll say is that I'm a runner, but I do about 30 miles a week. Molly's a walker, and she probably does about 100 miles a week. So it's pretty impressive. Thank you.
So we have, just quickly, we have an awesome board. We're always looking for more board members. We might talk to some of you. One of the most incredible things to me about Chelsea is long-standing players in history that stabilize, and new people coming in and energizing and going forward, and somehow we're sort of here together. And so going back to the beginning, I'm so excited to introduce you another board member quickly, Joan Cromwell, and then after Joan we'll have Jay close out. And those of you who would like to see the building, we're allowed to cram into the parking lot quickly. We'd love to give you a quick tour.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, cool. I just want to start with ROCA. I was sitting there and looking at the letters and thinking about it means something to Chelsea, but to me in that moment, listening to Mikey's story, it meant real opportunity for change and access, right? So that's powerful, right? And being present here is powerful, and in this space, it's powerful. In ROCA. Molly, give Molly a hand. We get folks like Molly like once in a lifetime, so we appreciate that she's here in Chelsea with us. And I could speak off the top of my head, but I'll go on and on and on. And Molly was like, it's really limited time, so say what you need to say. So I typed it, right? But the font is 11. So it's a problem. So I'm going to try. But just appreciate long life resident here in Chelsea. I see many great people in this room, but I think the greatest person is Mikey, because he's doing it every day, and he's telling us, where he's at and the place he's at and where he's at today because of programs like ROCA. So I just wanted to say, fresh out of college, I began my circle of life with ROCA in 1992 and have been so many places since then. And recently I returned as a board member because as a community resident, partner, and leader in an organization here in Chelsea, just a small organization, but we're present and boots on ground, I've witnessed the progress and life change in young men and women who are served and saved by ROCA. ROCA assists our young adult community members to discover their self-worth through rewiring their chaos and life trauma to mental health healing and setting them on a pathway to making safer, healthier choices that leads to life-changing opportunities in work, relationships, and self-esteem. And I can tell you, ROCA now, from 1992 to present, has come a long way. Not only have they grown immensely in providing direct service to over 2,000 young people, developed an Impact Institute that trains and coaches professionals and law enforcement officers. But what about that amazing newly renovated building? Wow, the meticulous planning and development is totally focused on the needs of high-risk young people they serve. They set up a space that demonstrates ROCA's intent to confront the trauma and violence with their clients come in with every day. I'll tell you, they are so good at what they do. I am here to share and to advocate that collaboration is key, and we know that a collective community effort breeds success. As a community person, I feel really, really good about ROCA's work, and I believe that, again, collaboration is key, and please, please remember that a collective community effort breeds success. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
So I asked Marshall Kais to come up to just help me wrap up, and this is unscripted. Brian knows that many times our relationship has been unscripted, so this is no surprise, but an important part of what we all have done, all of those who support ROCA, is to work very closely with the police department. And Brian, you know, we all expect the police department to keep us safe. You and those who, the men and women who work for you, did a great job here in Chelsea doing so. I wonder if you could just maybe validate what the rest of us have been talking about. How important has ROCA been to maintaining safety in the streets and allowing you, as a police officer and a police chief, to be able to better deliver public safety for our community?
No, I mean, great question, and was Dave. Dave's right here in front of me. So Dave and I, you know, go way back when ROCA first came on board in, I guess it was around 87-ish. I started the job in 87. Dave started in 86. And I've said this many times in different venues over the years that, and now everyone knows who ROCA is, certainly. But going back maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, and I was the police chief in Chelsea for 15, and I would talk to groups of other police chiefs around the Commonwealth, and they were envious of Chelsea at that time. Chelsea was kind of a little bit of a, you know, we just kind of had the monopoly on ROCA a bit, and then certainly it kind of branched out. But they were envious of the police department, the relationship we had with ROCA. And Jay, your question, like, what difference has it made? It has made a phenomenal difference. Individuals that just, young folks, it used to say 17 to 24, young men, now it's young men, young women, now the age has dropped down a bit to 16, but these were kids that otherwise would have got in trouble, got arrested, either sent to DYS, or if they're a little bit older, sent to Suffolk County House of Correction, or worse, and no one really cared. You know, there was no other option, but ROCA stepped in, filled that void. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. We got to know the young kids on a different basis. Instead of just putting handcuffs on somebody and having a quick conversation, we really got to know who they were. That story with Mike was phenomenal. Heard those stories many, many times over the years. And the impact, I just sat there sitting next to Fidel, and you know, there was a quick video, but that impact in that story, it hit home. It's just like phenomenal. But I say that, you know, the difference that ROCA has made over the years, and Joan just mentioned like 2,000 individuals. I'm sure, you know, if you multiply that times their family and siblings and friends, it just goes on and on and on. So the work that they've done and the work that they continue to do is second to none. So I just think it's absolutely phenomenal.
So I had the pleasure of serving the Commonwealth as Secretary of Economic Development for the state, and I would go around to communities, and one of my jobs was to interact with mayors and managers around the state, and I would always ask them, what would keep them up late at night, the problems that they had in the community and how they would solve it. And oftentimes, public safety was one of the issues that they would bring up. And I would say to them, well, what organization is working with you to have an impact in the community and reaching out to the people who are at the root of the problems, but also could be turned around and be the answers to the solutions. And I would often get a blank response. You know, there was no ROCA in other communities. And that's when I felt blessed. You've talked to many chiefs, not only in Massachusetts but around the country. How do you equate what ROCA does and the resource that we've had here versus what other chiefs face in Massachusetts around the country?
No, I mean, 100%. I mean, ROCA is ahead of the curve, ahead of their time. For the longest time, there was many departments, municipalities, not just here in Mass, but like you mentioned, around the country, that really had nothing. It was just the cycle of violence. It just continued. There was no intervention like what ROCA provides, and like what Dave's doing now, and how, you know, you mentioned, I know it was mentioned about Baltimore and how many police officers have been trained. With, you know, Dave and I, we talk a lot. Even though I've moved on and working for federal law enforcement, Dave and I probably talk 2 or 3 times a week. And I'm just in awe of what ROCA and it's how it just continues to evolve, continues to grow. Seems like it continues to reinvent itself. And just like what was probably one concentric circle, it's just kind of just grown and grown and grown, and just reaches every corner of not just this state, but certainly now, you know, all around the country. But yeah, to your question, there was many police chiefs are just like, wow, that is innovative, that is different, that is something that is needed. And now a lot of those police chiefs, and I know like with Boston, certainly, and Lynn, and it was mentioned like Holyoke, I know Dave right now is getting into Worcester, and hopefully Springfield and some of the other bigger places. So yeah, I mean, hopefully soon enough, we'll have another meeting like this, maybe in a couple years, and the whole Commonwealth, all 351, will have an impact or a connection with ROCA.
I worked on that yesterday.
I joke all the time that one of the things that I don't miss about being city manager is getting a call from Brian Keyes at 3 in the morning. When I got that call, it was usually bad news. It was usually a shooting, a homicide somewhere. I always wanted to ask you, I'll ask you publicly, was I the first call you made or was I the second call you made? And I wonder if Molly was the first call you made. So talk about how important, when something happened, how important was it to be able to have a resource that you could talk to about what was happening, both what may have occurred and preventing what might occur next?
No, I mean, it was huge. I mean, Molly and her folks, Joe, and everyone, they have a huge connection in terms of the pulse of the community, in terms of what's happening. Unfortunately, just kind of the way it is, folks that wear blue uniforms at times, there's many people that don't like to interact with the police and really communicate directly. So there's a bit of a workaround, and the workaround for us, and Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you know, with ROCA, with level of respect, and we're not trying to give up any confidentialities that exist and things like that, but just open lines of communication. The level of transparency, I think, was at its highest level. So yeah, you were probably like the 3rd or 4th call.
I thought I was special. The last thing I want to say is I want to challenge the adults in the room here, the people who are not part of the ROCA staff, to think about becoming more involved with ROCA. So I'm gonna challenge you by asking you a leading question and answering it for myself. But you know, we talk about ROCA and the impact that it has on young people and changing their lives. Brian, I often say that I wouldn't have been the city manager that I was, and I certainly wouldn't have been able to move on to other things had I not had Molly in my life and ROCA teaching me along the way. Fidel, you mentioned circles. We've all sat through circles. We've all gone through a lot of the training that young people have gone through. We've all asked ourselves how we approach opportunities and challenges in our lives and change the way we do that. Has ROCA had an impact on you personally and professionally?
100%. And I just, you know, before I mention that, I mean, Jay, I mean, you personally, in no small part, I mean, what you've taught me over the years, you and I, when I first came on board as the police chief, I mean, it really changed my life, my whole trajectory just, in Chelsea and certainly beyond, so that's certainly just something I mentioned publicly, which I haven't done before. And then certainly with Molly. Molly's a special person, she's a friend. We're talking out front when I first came in, and she took me over and showed me the new design of the new building. But over the years, Molly and I have just had some very deep and special conversations. And, you learn, hopefully all of us kind of learn from each other as we move through life. And yeah, Molly has made a profound impact in my life, as you have as well.
So can not only have an impact on young people who need champions, but you're going to learn something along the way about yourselves and become a better person, better professional as a result of that. So I would encourage you to be involved. Some members of the Chelsea business community here, Jen, thank you for the Chamber of Commerce and others to be here. We also need to remember, and Molly touched upon it just briefly, that ROCA is an important part of the Chelsea community as an economic engine as well. One of the largest employers in Chelsea, bringing tens of millions of dollars into Chelsea and through Chelsea outward. It's really important to recognize that ROCA has multiple impacts on the community. So for those of you who are in the Chelsea business community, thank you for your own contributions to Chelsea, but staying involved in ROCA is really important. So I want to thank everyone for coming. Brian, thanks for being here. I think, do I get a fugitive get out of trouble card? No. Very good. So yeah, thank you, Kerry. So I want to thank everyone for being here. Molly, and Joe and Joan, thank you for great presentations. I want to leave you just with one thing to think about as you're leaving, and I'm going to refer back to Mike. I've seen this video 5 or 6 or 7 times. Every time I watch it, I take away something different. Mike talked about his options, jail and death. Those were the options that he thought about before he became in contact with ROCA. And now you see a young man who's successful and thriving and has aspirations not only for him but his child as well. Think about the impact that you can have on the Mikes of the world, and giving him that third option, an option of personal growth and success is really important. Thank you all